This week I'm going to lead you through a slow flow practice for after work with a bolster. So we'll be moving slowly, gently, and using a bolster as a support in almost every pose we do. Let's get started. So a bolster will be the only prop that we need today. If you don't have a yoga bolster, you could use a big cushion, some pillows, or you could fold a big heavy blanket and make it into a bolster shape. When you are ready, when you have your bolster, just come lie down on that bolster in a supported back bend. So this will be our first pose. We're going to have the bolster lengthwise under the back, under the head, pelvis down on the mat. And you could open arms out to the sides. You could even bring arms higher up over the head. And you decide if you want to keep your knees bent, you could keep the knees bent, or you could extend your legs. We're going to spend about 5 to 10 breaths in this first pose. So make sure you're not hurting in your back. This supported back bend could give a nice opening for your chest, your shoulder area. If you've been sitting a lot today, or maybe you've spent time on a computer, this can be a really nice counter pose, counter movement for hunching at a desk. And you can let your breaths flow all the way down towards the belly area. Allowing your ribs to move as well as you breathe in and out. If you feel that there is tension around the chest, shoulders, then use your breath as a tool to open and release that tension. Let's take another few breaths in and out. Just breathing at your own calm pace. Notice also how you feel around your hips. We're going to give some movement for the hips, the pelvic area as well. And then after those few breaths, or when you feel you'd be ready to start moving more, you could first bring some gentle movement to your fingers, toes. And then bring your feet on the mat if you had your legs extended. And you could open arms somewhere out to the sides if you had them overhead or next to your sides, and couple of times gently swing your knees from side to side. So windshield wipers. Could be just a small movement, especially if you feel tight, tense around the hips or lower back. Let's do a couple more gentle swings and keep breathing. Make sure you're not holding your breath as you start to move. And then bring legs back to center. And now slide arms, hands down next to your pelvis, down next to your sides on the mat. Palms could be facing down or up. And we'll do 3 bridge poses from here. We're still on top of that bolster. We're going to exhale, press the feet down and elevate the pelvis off the mat into a small bridge. Inhale at the top. And then exhale, lower down, gently, carefully. Bring pelvis all the way back onto the mat. Inhale there. Same again, as you exhale, press the feet down, elevate your pelvis off the mat, off the bolster. Press the heels down. And again, next exhalation, release back down. One more time. Inhale down on the mat, and then exhale, pressing down through the feet, especially through the heels. Elevate the pelvis up. Inhale at the top. And then exhale, release down. You can bring pelvis all the way down on the mat. And now start to bring your chin towards the chest, reaching hands towards the knees, maybe back of the thighs. And just slowly, slowly roll yourself up into a seat. You can help with your hands, rounding your spine, and lean your chest, your head towards the knees. You can hang your head down and forward. Take a couple of breaths here, and now send your breaths towards the back. Breathe into your turtle shell. Breathe between the shoulder blades. And then slowly inhale, bring your head to your neck up. And now we'll do a few movements into the deer pose from side to side. You could start by having hands and arms somewhere in front of you. Now slowly with your next breath, bring your both knees to the left side. Find a deer pose, so left shin in front of you, right leg more next to you. And then with the next breath, we go to the other side. So lift the knees up and then bring your knees towards the right. And here you could add a small spinal twist, looking to the right. And we continue this a few times. Breathe in and out, bringing knees up and then to the left side. Again, you can twist to the left. And again, inhale, exhale, lift the knees up and twisting, turning to the right. If it's easier, you can bring hand down here. Let's do a couple more times. Just breathing in and out, moving from side to side. You decide if you add the twist or not. You can also keep your spine more neutral. And let's go one more time to the left. And one more time to the right. And now we're going to stay here. We'll bring hands to the mat and we'll wiggle ourselves a bit closer to the bolster. We're going to go into a closed twist. You can bring the bolster all the way into the right hip. Turn your chest towards the bolster. Exhale, release into a twist. Turning your chest, your belly onto the bolster. And now you can turn your head to the right or to the left, which one feels better in your neck. You can still keep your legs in that deer shape. So your left knee is kind of closer to the right foot. But if that hurts in the back, then bring your knees on top of each other. Take just a couple more breaths here, in and out. And then step hands under shoulders and bring yourself onto your hands and then onto hands and knees. Turn your belly towards the bolster. You can move it just a bit higher up along the mat. And we'll do a few cat-cow movements here. Now with exhalation, round your spine up towards the ceiling, the cat pose. Inhale there, and then as you exhale, open your chest. Find the cow pose, the back bend. You can turn your tailbone up. Inhale in that back bend. And then again, as you exhale, round your spine. You can tuck the tailbone under. Again, bring chin towards the chest. Inhale and exhale, moving into the back bend. So we're moving as we breathe out. Inhale, pause in the back bend. And again, exhale, round the spine. Press your hands to the mat. Press knees to the mat. Inhale. And exhale into that back bend. Release tops of the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale. One last round. Exhale into that cat. Open that space between the shoulder blades. Inhale. And exhale one more time into that cow back bend. Inhaling there, breathing towards the chest. And then find a neutral spine. We'll go into the twist on the other side. So now we're going to move knees to our right. Sit down onto the left hip. And again, you could open legs into the deer. Right knee next to the left foot. Have your bolster next to the left hip. And then as you inhale, open your chest towards the bolster. Exhale, release your chest, your head down. And again, you can turn head to the right or to the left. See which one feels more natural on this side. And send a few breaths down and up along the spine. Here, allow your hands, your wrists, your shoulders to relax. You can breathe all the way down to the lower belly. Let's take one more breath in and out. And then slowly again bring hands under shoulders. Lift yourself up onto hands and knees. Bring your bolster in the center. And now we're going to lift into a downward dog. So tuck your toes under, lift your pelvis up. And the bolster could be there so that you lean your head onto the bolster. Or you can do this downward dog without the bolster, maybe moving the feet a bit, opening through the backs of the legs. Take a couple of breaths in and out. And then we're going to do a gentle vinyasa flow with the bolster. Now from downward dog, shift your weight forward into a plank. As you exhale, lower yourself down onto the bolster. So it's supporting your chest, your belly. Keep your legs active. Inhale into a cobra, opening through the chest. So now the bolster is supporting your pelvis. Breathe here. And then we're going to go back into downward dog. So you can lift your pelvis up, head dropping down. From here, move your bolster just a bit to the left. And then we're going to step the right foot forward, somewhere behind the right hand, and bring left knee either onto the bolster or just behind the bolster, so that the bolster is supporting your left thigh. We are in a low lizard lunge, and the bolster supporting your either the knee or the left thigh. And breathing here, we're opening through the front of the left thigh, left hip, but the bolster can give a nice support. So we're not trying to sink as far down as possible, but we allow the bolster to support that whole left hip, left thigh, left leg area. Right hip could rotate a bit more open if that gives you more space. You could even go down onto elbows if you like. Let's see what works for you now. Take another breath in and out in your lizard lunge. And then we're going to come back onto hands, and we're going to step back into downward dog. So step your feet back. Now we can bring bolster back to center. We'll add that little vinyasa flow here again. We're going to inhale, come forward to a plank. The bolster is waiting for you. Exhale, lower yourself down onto the bolster. Inhale, lift into your cobra. You could keep your toes tucked under, or you can release the toes. See what feels better in your back, better in your hips. Take another breath here, in and out. And then we're going to lift back into downward dog. So lift the pelvis up. And then we're going to look for that low lunge on the other side. So now you could bring the bolster a bit more to the right side of the mat. We'll step left foot somewhere behind the left hand and then lower the right thigh, the right knee down. You might still need to adjust the bolster. So again, the bolster could be under the knee or under the thigh. Have your both hands there supporting as well. You could bring both hands to the inside of that left foot if that feels better. You can even open the left hip. So you're rotating the left leg open. And again, you have the option of going down onto elbows if that feels better. Again, the bolster is there to support. So we're not dropping all the way down to the mat. You can offer some support for your joints. You might make the pose gentler. For some people, it might make it more intense. Just notice how it feels in your body. Take another breath in and out. And then slowly bring yourself back up onto hands. And we go into another downward dog and our last flow. So you can bring your bolster back to center. And then we add that last vinyasa flow for today. We're going to inhale forward to plank and exhale slowly down onto that bolster. Inhaling to your cobra. Opening through the whole front line. Release shoulders away from the ears. Take another breath here. And then we go into downward dog. It's our almost last downward dog. And then we're going to go into a pigeon. Again, move the bolster a bit more to the left. We're going to now bring left knee, left shin forward so that the bolster would end up under your left buttock, kind of under the pelvis. So it's supporting your left hip, left knee. And you're going to let the right leg lengthen behind you. Now, as you inhale, open your chest. And you have an option here as well, just like in that lizard. Stay up on your hands, or you can lean lower down. You can lean onto your elbows, or even bring your head, your chest down. Choose where your pigeon is today. If you feel that the bolster is not helping you, you can always move it aside. Take another breath in and out. Allow your shoulders, your head to release. And then if you're down on the elbows, bring yourself back up onto the hands. And then we have our last downward facing dog. So lift your pelvis up, step your feet back. We're going to move the bolster to the right and go into that pigeon on the right side. So now bring your right knee, right shin forward. And you could have the bolster under your right buttock, pelvis, thigh. It might be different on this side. Or again, you might notice you don't want to use it at all. That's very fine. And then breathing either in an upright, proud pigeon, or if you want, you can lean forward, maybe down onto elbows, or you can bring your head down, even lean your chest down. And see if you could send a few breaths all the way down towards the pelvis, down towards the hips, softening in the upper body as well. So finding ease and release where it's possible to find them now. Take another breath in and out. And then if you are down on the elbows, bring yourself back onto the hands. So you lift your chest up. And then we're going to move the bolster away from under the pelvis so we can sit down onto the mat. Bring both legs in front of us. And we're going to bring the bolster under our feet as we move to lie down on the back. So bring yourself onto your back and have your bolster under the feet so your feet are elevated off the mat. We'll go into another bridge pose from here, but this time we're going to stay there, hold the pose for longer. Arms down next to the sides. Inhale. And then exhale, press your feet onto that bolster and elevate your pelvis, your back off the mat. If you want, you have the option now to bring hands together under the pelvis. Walk shoulder blades closer together. With the feet elevated off the mat, there's often a bit more space for that bridge pose. So you might find yourself lifting higher up, or you might feel that there's more room for that back bend. Open through the chest. Take another couple of breaths in and out. And then slowly release. Release the arms, the hands. Bring your back, your pelvis down. You could do a couple of windshield wipers, just swinging the knees from side to side. Maybe rocking the head from side to side as well. And then we're going to stay lying down on the back. We're going to bring the bolster under our knees. So you can use your feet to bring the bolster a bit closer to the pelvis. Open legs into a butterfly pose. So now your bolster is supporting the knees, the thighs. And we'll bring arms overhead. We'll go into the fruit fly pose. So we're combining butterfly with the banana pose. First side, hold your right wrist with the left hand. As you breathe in and out, just gently pull, slide your upper body to the left side of the mat, or the left top corner of the mat. So you create a side bend, the banana pose in your upper body. Lower body staying in that butterfly shape. You could lean head to left if that releases the neck more. And send a few breaths down and up along that right side body. You can imagine you're breathing to the right armpit, to the ribs on the right side, and maybe breathing all the way down to the right hip. Take another breath in and out. And then slowly, as you exhale, come back to center. You can release the arms down for a moment. And then slowly, with your next couple of breaths, we'll go into that fruit fly on the other side. So bring arms back overhead. Take hold of your left wrist. And then as you inhale, exhale, you can gently pull, slide your upper body towards the right side of the mat. Kind of hands reaching towards the right top corner of the mat. And now the opening is on the left side of your torso, maybe left shoulder. Check that it's still easy to breathe. If you feel the pose is blocking your breath, then find a gentler edge. Send a few more breaths down and up along your spine, along that left side of your body. And then in your own time, release the side bend, come back to center. Again, you can release the arms down. And then slowly let go of that butterfly shape in the legs. You could Just let your legs extend into the Shavasana pose. And we'll take a moment here. Just checking in how you're feeling now. Soften your arms, soften your hands. If you notice that there's tension in the neck or shoulders, you could rock your head from side to side. You could open and close your mouth, so release the jaw. Give yourself at least a few more breaths here. I'm inviting you to spend a longer time in your Shavasana pose, if you have time. I'm going to slowly roll up and into a seat, but you can stay in your resting pose as long as you have time today. So give yourself time to rest. And then when you find your way to the end of your practice, when it's time to close the practice, as always, most importantly, thank yourself for taking some time to move, to breathe, to flow today. And I thank you all very much for joining in. Namaste. Thank you.